And hello, everybody. It's been a tiring day. Yeah, sunglasses again. It's kind of bright in the afternoon here, and I have to wear sunglasses because I have glaucoma and already did 4 eye operations. And I had my nephews help me out with the garden because Uncle Alan can't, because of my left arm, I can't lift the hedger. And I'm very good at topiary, that's sculpting plants. And also I need to remove a few things, and they helped me out. And this time I watched them so they don't spray all over the garden. This year it's going to be a rough summer. Get into your little heads. It may be warm right now. I have to warn people, the weather is very unpredictable. I have friends of mine, we have about 6 different weather patterns we're worried about. First one is what's hitting the Pacific coast. Now, this is regionalized. Northern California, Oregon, parts of Washington, and Idaho are going to feel the effects. Also, a little bit into northern Nevada. Now, I've been circling this one. This is a doozy. This will drift over next week with another one coming in from, okay, you're going to have periods of really nice weather, warm weather in the 80s and something. It's fine. The next day, wind, cold, reaches into the 20s again. Hail. We're not talking a little tiny hail. We're talking about goose egg size hail. Okay? And winds starts at 60 miles an hour and goes up to 120. So next time you see a tree go kaput. Now, also I've been watching Anthony, and Anthony lives in the southeast, one of the wettest places on earth. I live in the desert. So if I'm going to grow an acre of wheat, where the hell I'm going to get the water from? I live in the desert. I can't pump it out of the ground. Okay, I have to order it through the federal agency. Anthony never had to do this. If I have to do it by hand, which I won't because heart condition, okay, it's hard to do it by hand. You could do it up to an acre, and then you have time restraints and other things. You can do up to acre. They shown it. If you go to the Henry Ford, drive 300 miles to Virginia, they have the Virginia or Illinois. I forget where he puts that one. He has a farming community based in the 1860s to 1880s, and you can grow wheat on 1 acre by hand. But if I'm growing wheat not for only families, but I have to grow for animal feed, I need 5 acres. Okay, because I tell people, what are you going to hell are you going to feed your horses, cows, pigs, chickens? Okay? And a lot of people don't realize it. I'm in the Southwest. Okay? A lot of people don't understand we're heavy irrigated. And when Bozo the Clown and the governor screws up our water supply from Northern California, Central California, and Southern California, all hell breaks loose. When you release all that water up north, well, it's good for the fishes. It won't overflow the dams. LA has to water their lawns twice a week, and it's a good idea to empty out your pools now. I tell people that empty out pools, fill it up with dirt, and grow vegetables. Okay? Before I go into insane mode and rants and stuff. This is, what is it? Everything's blurry. Let's see. You're going to the shelter, part 2, what to take. Okay, we're going to talk that. And this is for Linda's Prepper Kitchen. Okay? Now I tell people it's not going to a shelter is your last resort. And I ran a few, and I know how FEMA and the First State Red Cross works. Either incompetence or stupid, or can't use that word. Every time I use the I word, I lose 80 hours. I already did last time. This is, if you're going to a shelter, it's the last ditch. Shelters are designed for urban people. I keep telling this to people, and not for rural people. If you're rural, get a motel away from the fire zone. Simple, but nobody ever thinks. Make a reservation towards a motel out of the fire zone. Okay, if it's Uncle Al, I'm in the desert, so I don't have to worry. But in my old location, I have a place, and I go to Sacramento, and then I reserve a nice suite. Uncle Alan does a 4-star or 5-star hotel for a week. All right? Because Uncle Alan could afford it. I'm broke right now, but in the old days, yes, when I had my first house. Still pissed off at that. If you wouldn't get kicked in the nuts. Seriously, talk about my first house. I put a lot of money and I lost a lot of money, and I'm fighting everybody. So I tend to punch people in the head. Okay? Again, not for rural people. You should already have a plan to go to a motel or hotel for at least about a week. And then if you're smart like Uncle Alan and have storage units placed, I have like this couch right here. It's a bed. It's a foldable bed. Pull that out of storage, get my box with all my gear in it for the make that nice bed, and I'm comfortable. And I have an extra widescreen TV in there. So I'm set up this exact setup here in my apartment. That's all I need. Okay, and I have kitchen supplies, and I can just buy groceries. And most apartments are well equipped. I have all my stuff into totes. Remember, yellow on top, black on the bottom. No mouse motels. Everything goes in, everything goes out. And when I'm not using it, it goes into storage for the next time. Now I'm at my bug out location, so I don't need most of this stuff, and it's already set up here. Okay, folks? Not to worry. Uncle Alan always thinks ahead. And no, I'm not one of the alphabet people or an alien. I keep telling people that. Okay. Now, last night I went over the video for this. It ran too long. It ran like 12 to 40 minutes over, like 2.5 hours. So we're going to do a condensed version. I tell people to get this one. And this one, if you want to learn about going to a shelter. Now, before the Soviet Union collapsed, they used to have a real good civil defense. And this one's, see that? Brim printed and translated by the United States Air Force. And this is one of the complete books of civil defense. And it shows everything in it. I really like the Soviets before they fell apart. They had everything in instructions, detections, use of equipment, classes to take. I mean, they are good at it. They were going to fight a 5-year nuclear war. There it is. Because they did the math and everything. I really like these guys. There's so much text in this book, it's not even funny. Let's see, defense planning, shooting of people. Okay. If you're a young pioneer, you went already through this course. All right, I do recommend this book. It's going to be really hard to get because it has a lot of mathematics and text. Because a lot of people don't realize this is for city and rural people, and it shows you everything you need to do, set up, built. If Hubble's cat had this, he'd be probably screaming. Because they were way ahead of, they were really serious. Okay? This is their typical suit to issue out to the populace. This wasn't military, civil defense. Okay, that's a hard book. If you can get it, it's about $250. It's not cheap. These two books you can still find on Amazon. Okay? Let's see where I marked it. Shelter and evacuation. Know the difference between mass care shelters, public shelters, and community confinement. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that. Okay, community containment, I keep forgetting it's not confinement, containment versus mass care shelters. There's a big difference between the two. And going to the shelter is your last resort. If you didn't make plans, okay, proper ones, you waited until the last minute, you're too poor, or didn't decide correctly and left early, you're paying for the price and you're going to a public shelter. Okay, make no mistake about it. Crowded mass care facilities can be very unpleasant. It beats the alternative to be exposed directly in the path of the danger. Good mass care shelters run properly. If Uncle Alan part of the team running it, you're in good hands. If not, you're screwed. Mass care shelters will probably have water, food, first aid supply, providers, medications, or medicines for that unit. Heating and air conditioning, basic sanitation facilities, and blankets and cots. If it's not run properly, you're screwed. If you go to a mass care facility, take your disaster kit. Everybody should have one. And evacuation kit to ensure that you have what you need for yourself and to help the shelter. Okay? Japan is number one, followed by Switzerland, and I forgot the third country, but they're on the tiers of really good, mass care shelters. Japan's the top, Switzerland number two, and then it goes down. Who's the worst? Zimbabwe and the United States. They're bottom two. Okay, we have a real bad track record. Look at Katrina. Look at Andrew. Look at a lot of places. Okay, our shelter system in the United States for even local disasters sucks. Okay, let's see. Do not take alcohol, firearms, recreational drugs. Let's see, what else? Blah, 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 blah. Know the evacuation plan for your apartment building and community. Leave early if possible. Do not wait until the last minute. Okay, that's why you see all the highways packed up. All right, this makes a heck of a problem when you're evacuating a city of 1 million people. It's dealing with population density. Okay? Okay, that's for this one right here. It'll be written down right there. Now, you're going to the shelter and what to take. Lord, this gives me a headache. Okay, experience. 12 difficult truths from a real life worst case scenario. This also got my notes in it. You're going to need more supplies, especially if you will, let's see, especially if you will suspect whatever disaster it's going to be. Your so-called 23-day supply kit doesn't fit it. So this is why I always push for the iron rations. Okay, so it lasts about a week. Your 72-hour kit plus your iron ration, that iron ration is about 2 days, 48 hours. When you combine the two, it's about a week. Okay? Something you could count on if you cannot get provided during a wild-scale emergency. Have enough money with you in small bills, because if it's a hurricane, flood, tornado, ATMs will be down, most electronic stuff will be down. I don't have my cell phone with me. Your smartphone won't work. Okay? I always tell people to include cost of hotel, fuel, medication, food products, and other supplies that determine how much cash you should have on hand. And wear a money belt underneath your shirt. Okay? Again, a government mass shelter should be your last resort. You will discover that your constitutional rights may not apply, and under the authority whoever runs it, and particularly the camp or shelter, or what was the other word? I forget it. Containment center. You may not be able to leave even if you want to, because they have a rule. If the area is not safe, if the military is doing military action, they don't want you to get in the way, because more likely you're going to get shot or used as a human shield. Go see Ukraine. Okay? If you have your emergency kit packed, that's great, but make sure you check periodically for dead batteries, mouse motel. You don't want to open up your kit in the shelter and you find dead mice in it. Leaky container of liquids, shoes and clothing that are too small because you got fat. Missing items because Junior took out everything out of it. And spoiled foods. Okay, do not pack on your vehicle luxury items. Don't care. This is your life. Do not bring furniture, clothing, unnecessary clothing, because it's going to be abandoned on the highway. I've seen people brought beds with them. I mean, seriously. Okay, and then rescue workers. Rescue workers and law enforcement will ignore your civil rights in forms of unlawful searches and confiscation of legal belongings, such as firearms, and you have no resource. Because if they find in that shelter you have a firearm, they'll take it away because you're a threat to that shelter. Okay? You have no legal recourse. You can write down and stuff. I tell people do not bring weapons to these places unless you want to serve, jail time at the county jail. Your world will be turned upside down, and it's not going to be pleasant. Okay, other notes. Kids should okay. You'll be housed with dozens of other people, even more. It'll be your responsibility to keep track of all belongings. If you have valuables with you, it's best to store in a locked car in a locked box, away out of sight, and carry on your persons at all times. If something's lost, damaged, or stolen, it is your entire responsibility, nobody else's. Your kids are your sole responsibility. Because they have other adults in the shelter and even a nurse doesn't mean you have a built-in babysitters. We are busy in that shelter. Okay? Children must not be left unattended. We don't want what happened in Katrina. Loud and rowdy kids will make life miserable in the shelter. If you're in my shelter, you're going to have a little counseling. Okay? It makes life more difficult for everybody. They will be kept occupied and reasonably quiet. Okay, Uncle Alan will put them to work. Okay, beware of that. No weapon of all kinds are permitted in Red Cross shelters, except for and FEMA shelters, except carried by security personnel and law enforcement. Additionally, no alcohol or illegal drugs are allowed, and persons under the influence will be asked to leave or turned over to law enforcement. You spend the disaster in the county jail. Okay? Now that covers that part. Now we'll be back to this in part 3 of your personal needs. Okay? So you're going to the shelter. You're going to shelter what to take. And if you have important document, it should be with you. You should have a memory stick with everything scanned on it. Okay? It's all up to you. You have to plan it. So I do tell people to get Survival Mom and by Dave's Black Book. It's listed down below. I have another book also listed below. It's going to be in the 3rd video. And I'll see you later. Remember, it's all up to you. Do not take things that are forbidden in a public shelter. This video is for people who lives in an apartment, high density area, who aren't that smart and left early. Because, where's Uncle Al? Oh, he's staying at the Sheraton by the pool having a nice fruity drink. What are you doing? I'm in a shelter with 300 people and it smells bad and I can't go to sleep. So enjoy your space blanket and your gym mat. Okay? Because Uncle Alan's been through this mess and I'm not doing it again. Okay, so make your plans. Okay, and if you're in a fire area, wildfire, you reserve the motel outside your area now. Uncle Alan can't do motels. Had a bad experience. Some big man pounding on the door and I'm trying to get his wife out the window and me out the window because I didn't want to shoot the guy, and that's a long story, but I don't like motels. And I'll see you later, folks. You have a nice day. God, I hate the light. Okay, folks. I'll be seeing you. Bye now.